Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Wizards Moment. Wizards fans, there's actually reason to be happy. The Washington Wizards um, show that they do understand the concept of defense, how to play it. There's some sense of pride somewhere in there, and it was on display tonight. They got out to a quick start, and then they pretty much responded to almost every Utah run. They were able to win this game 131-122 to get their first win of the second half of the season. Cardell, we'll start off with you, and then Ray, just your initial thoughts on this one.
I just think that the backcourt for the Wizards set the tone early, especially Russell Westbrook. That was a tough first quarter that he had. 13 points, 6 rebounds, 3 assists, and no turnovers. I like what he did there, man. I think he just came out ultra aggressive, and he wouldn't let a defeated mentality set in, where another L was going to be inevitable in the first quarter. You know what I mean? He's like, no, we going to fight. And they jumped on a team that, a little bit was fatigued. They coming from Boston, flying overnight, coming here. And, not saying it's any excuse on that behalf because, hey, the Wizards done got their fair share of those as well. But that had a part to play in it and whatnot, and they jumped on them in the first half. Russell Westbrook set the tone in the first quarter, and then guys follow his lead. You know what I'm saying? So I believe I just think guys with him stepping up like that to begin, I think it put confidence in the whole team, and everybody just started playing their roles. This is honestly probably one of their best all-around team efforts on both ends. Guys just doing what they're supposed to do, not trying to overstep their boundaries, not doing too much, just doing what you had to do. First half was the first time in a long time since pretty much All-Star break that they held the team to below 30 points in both of the quarters, and that's put them in a hole. And then with their defense swarming and stuff, they forced 11 Jazz turnovers in the first half, which further put the Jazz in a hole. I just felt like I said, Utah looked flat coming off the game from Boston, and obviously not having Mike Conley hurt as well. But with that said, as hot as the Wizards were throughout the game, because Bill got going, then Russell kind of maintained what he was doing. Rui contributed. As hot as they were, the second half, the ugly Wizards showed up defensively, and that's what allowed the Jazz to get back in the game. Look, like I said, 46 points in the first half. Then in the second half, the Jazz put up 76 points and made it a game. And that can't happen. You got to be able to sustain that for most of the game. I understand maybe in spurts and runs you might slack off, but you got to be able to regroup. So some of those bad defensive tendencies are there because they got up big 20 plus and they thought the game was over. It's not over with the Jazz because they woke up in the second half. They came out with a sense of pride to try to win, and they made it a game where honestly I felt like if the Wizards were really on that game, Bill and Russ and those guys should have been sitting midway through the third, getting some rest. But instead they had to play the whole game to keep the Jazz off of them so they can get a win. I felt like the Wizards bench played better than last game. Last night, 25 points to the Jazz, 19 points. Donovan Mitchell, look, man, they contained him in the first half, but that second half, man, he dropped 33. Look, he's a great player. But 16 for 30, and you scoring 33 points in the second half. That's just defense, man. That's you not feeling anybody. Joe Ingles, 34 points, 8 of 10 from deep. It's look, man. If the Jazz weren't struggling, they would have won the game. They're struggling with their own issues, you know what I'm saying, and kind of similar to the Wizards' defensive stuff and turnovers. You know what I mean? So I look, Wizards won. I give them credit, but this is not the recipe from what we saw tonight, where you could be confident that they're gonna pile up some wins to get back in that playoff mix. This ain't it. The first half was, but as a full game, it isn't. It just showed their inconsistencies and why they are in the position that they are now. Let's be honest. Jazz shot 37% from deep, and they took 28 shots from the free throw line, which means you wasn't guarding the three well, and when you did guard, you were fouling them. Had the Jazz hit their free throws where they shot 16 to 28, 57%, this might have been a different game. You know what I'm saying? So you gotta look at those little things, man. But I love how Washington battled on the boards. They've been getting punished since the All-Star break on the boards for the most part. They lost, but it was close, 47-43. Anybody could live with that, especially with Rudy Gobert. down there. You know what I'm saying? They contain him real good. They box him out. The bigs actually put a body on him and contain him. You gotta give them credit. The Wizards scored on a break 12-3, taking advantage of the Jazz, fatigue. And and then Washington scored 24 points off the Jazz, 17 turnovers, 11 of which, like I said, came in the first half. So it was a lot of bright spots for the Wizards, no doubt. But they still got some things to clean up if they want to make a run, like they did in February where they won 10 games, because that's what they're gonna need to get back in this playoff picture.
Right.
Yeah, man, that first half was beautiful, especially on the defensive end. And I feel like it fueled their offense, because they was getting loud ball turnovers, getting defensive rebounds, keeping the Jazz off the offensive glass, and then starting to break and getting out and getting some easy baskets. The thing I like about this game, they only took 17 threes, and then they got 38 free throws, so they was being aggressive and attacking, and not just settling. And we talked about that on the last show. They can't just neglect the paint because they're afraid of Gobert's presence down there. They went in there and mixed it up, and they scored in the mid range, got some easier shots. But yeah, that defense in the first half, man, that's what really kind of got them out far enough as to where the deficiencies in the second half really didn't catch up to them. And the play that's showing right now, that might be my favorite play of the entire season. Just Neto's his grit, his hustle, fighting over the top of the screen, then harassing Clarkson, poking the ball away, running it down. I mean, those are the type of things you have to do to to win games. Man, it's stuff like this is frustrating, man, because the Jazz aren't a bad team by any stretch, and they have one of the most dominant forces inside, on defensive rebounding. And if you can attack him like that, then no disrespect to him, but Valanciunas shouldn't be getting 29 and 20. Like, if you approach that game how you approach Rudy Gobert tonight, is, you know what I'm saying? So I don't understand why they don't just do this all the time or some version of it, or at least what we saw in the first half, because like you said, Cardell, in the second half, it did get ugly. The Jazz had 36 in the third quarter and 40 in the fourth. I think the Wizards got comfortable, took their foot off the gas. They're not in a position to do that at any point. I don't care if they up by 40. They just keep playing, man. You got to build habits. You're not that type of team where you can just, all right, this game is over and we can start looking forward. You got to stay consistent. So it spills over into the next game. And you just kind of build some momentum. But they got to win. Not going to beat them over the head with the same things, but like Cardell said, they got to be consistent and they got to get back to putting full quarters together, or at least most of the game together, if they want to make another run like they did before All-Star break. But yeah, man, they responded to the runs pretty well. I started to get a little concerned when Donovan Mitchell started waking up. We know what he could do once he gets in the rhythm. So yeah, man, kudos to them for that. But again, Russ and Brad shouldn't have had to put that much work in, considering what the Wizards did early in the game. But to that point, they established early and they kind of put some separation. So they had that bad second half defensively, but they were far enough ahead as to where and then come back and bite them all the way. But you don't want that to be the norm, because say if Utah's on the game a little bit more and they're not in the midst of whatever they're going through, then they probably could take this one. But I like they were being aggressive with Gobert, not just letting him get easy putbacks and foul him and put him on the line. He was 2 for 10, so that was beneficial for them. But yeah, Ingles, he can't have that type of game. It's like nobody was there, nobody was challenging him or anything. And Donovan, he gonna do what he do, but he can't get off like that. After you kind of held him in the box for the first half. But all in all, man, just glad they finally got another one in the win column. They had lost 5 in a row. before this. So yeah, maybe this will spark something and they kind of get rejuvenated and they can remember what it's like to win games. So, maybe they'll say, hey, this is the effort we got to have if we want to have any type of success moving forward. But yeah, man, good win. And it's like they showed a graphic. They're 7-2 against the top 6 teams in the West. Like, come on, dude. if you can compete and battle against those top tier teams, then you don't even have to bring all that energy against lesser teams, but just some of it, and you get some of those games, but you can't be damn near 80% against the top half of the league, and you're 15-24, whatever their record is. Like that just doesn't make sense, man. And I gotta put that on the players for the most part, because the effort it looks completely different. So I don't know how much Brooks can do about that, where one game you look like you never even heard of defense. Then the next game you come out strapping, rotating, challenging shots, active hands, getting in the passing lane and rebounding. Like that's not a coach's thing. So yeah, man, hopefully they can get back on track here.
Hey, 2 things real quick before you go, Wilson. One thing is, like you said, Raymond, when they play better against the top teams in the league. They got a winning record against them, and then against the mediocre and bad teams, they got a terrible record. I think it's them getting up, but I also think it's those teams. We got the Wizards tomorrow. That's kind of an easy win. I think it's a combination of both. You see what I'm saying? Then the Wizards are up and they playing as well as they can play, and they put these better teams on their heels. Oh shit! Now we gotta play for real. That's kind of honestly what you kind of saw with the Jazz. Let's just go ahead and get this win. They beat us and they ain't that good. Oh damn! They punching us out. Now we gotta show some pride and play. I think it's a combination of that, and 2, they got the Nets coming up on Sunday. Do you feel confident with the defense they played totally in this game that they will beat the Nets the way they defended through this game?
Not completely. Like if they can translate that first half defense into the whole game, then they got a fighting chance. But if they play defense how they played in the second half for any portion of the game, it's a wrap.
You're mute, Wilson.
Sorry about that. I was going to say, yeah, as far as Sunday goes, you can't give those dudes over there, not to knock Utah, like Donovan came out the second half hunting. He didn't start the game hunting, right? Those dudes come Sunday, they start the game hunting. Like what they feel like they're here to do. So you can't afford that let up or whatnot. Obviously we know their defense is up and down. The problem with them is it's hard to turn the water off with them. It's like an ever. Mm-hmm. There's no, oh, hey, we'll respond with a 13-2 run. Like, you'll respond or be like, haha, challenge accepted. Here's 15 off straight. Like, that's the issue. And like Ray said, like, literally, I was just shaking my head midway through the game. I'm tweeting, I'm just like, this has to be, if you're a Wizards fan, I was like, this would have to be so incredibly maddening and frustrating, because you're not good enough to coast against the bad teams because you're literally one of those. You have to play at like a certain level of intensity every game, where the better team, there's an actual switch they can hit. Like Donovan came out the locker room and was like, no, and nobody can do anything with him. Literally just it's time. Went from 9 to 20 something in a quarter. Then again, got to going late, but you know how it is when you BS half the time. Sometimes you can't dig yourself out the hole. But we saw the other night, like what's it go out against Milwaukee. Milwaukee has some ups and downs, but the first game, Milwaukee was like, The second game, they took it seriously for most of the game, and every time the Wizards made a run, there was no coming back. We've seen the Clippers do that to them. We've seen them get the Clippers as well, but I thought that was a great point. You mentioned Cardell, where it's that record against a good team is a little bit misleading because, again, most of those games were in the first half of the season. I'm interested to see how that plays out the second half of the season because, like you said, people are gearing up for this stretch run. It's a little bit different than first half of the year when you feel like you're already in contention. You're kind of chilling a little bit. Just to be completely honest, this is what the league is at this moment. But what we want to do, did you guys have anything else you wanted to add? I'm gonna get to some of these comments, and again, just want to say thanks to all of you from wherever you are supporting us from. We truly appreciate it. It's all of you that leave comments, whether it be on YouTube. Just remember, you can leave comments on YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. If you leave them, we'll see them. And like Cardell mentioned earlier, they're gonna do a better job of just highlighting the comments and just engaging with you all. And again, reach out. Like we'll see them. We got time to talk about it. So the first one today, coming from Tone. Any decent big man is eating against the Wizards. It's ridiculous. Big men got them circled on the calendar, essentially, is what he's saying. So Ray, your thoughts?
He's absolutely right. I mean, we've seen it. It is what it is. And even the other team he highlighted, Charlotte, their big men ate against the Wizards. So yeah, man, that's spot on. And Cardell brings it up often. That front line, that thing pumping Kool-Aid down there. So that's something they gotta address, man. They gotta fight, they gotta be tough, and they gotta prove that statement false. Up until this point, they haven't. So yeah, man, to Tone Jr., you're absolutely right, dude. Like when big men see the Wizards coming up, like Wilson says often, oh, this is a career night for me. This is a time to get my averages up, and they have. So yeah, there's no need to sugarcoat it. I mean, it is what it is. We can't erase facts. So yeah, man, they need to get that together.
Yeah, I don't really have too much to add. I feel like I'm on record saying that way too much on here. So Tone, thanks for watching. Cardell, your thoughts on it?
Yeah, he said it. You know what I mean? I mean, it ain't nothing. You know, I've been saying it. You know, they did a decent job tonight, you know, containing Gobert, but let's face it, you know, if Gobert had hit some free throws, that's still different. That's still 14, 15 points, 13 rebounds. You know, that's still a ugly double-double. When them rebounds start getting up in the mid-teens and, you know, look, and they hurts.
Nah, you're right.
5 offensive rebounds. Those are potential putbacks. You see what I'm saying? So, look, as a core, they got to do better. I'm not expecting one of them to outbattle these good centers like Embiid and stuff like that. But, you know, if Embiid got 30 and 10, y'all got to combine to have that. You know what I'm saying? Like, y'all have to combine to have that to offset what he do. It's no different than when we were growing up watching Shaq. We knew Shaq, especially in the playoffs, that was 40-20, 35-15, 5 assists. It was just like that. But, you know what I mean? Tim Duncan and David Robinson knew they had a matchup. Yeah, Tim was going to get the bulk of that, but David Robinson made sure he finished it so they can cancel Shaq out. Same thing, you know, you try to do that with Rasheed and Arvidas or something. As a core, you got to try to match their production. Otherwise, you're not going to win. Let's plain and simple, because it's a dominant factor for them, a dominant advantage that the Wizards can't match. So they have to show it when these bigs come in. Even, you know, Sunday when the Nets come in, or when they play the Nets, you still got to deal with DeAndre and the young boy, Claxton. Yep. You got to deal with the young boy that's up there making waves, because they have a rhythm. He has a rhythm with Harden now. You know what I mean? And we don't know when Blake is going to return. He may return that game. You see what I'm saying? So, you know, I know he ain't look good in Detroit, but I'm pretty sure, you know, with all due respect, he was holding some things back. You know, he had a couple of bullets in. He ain't filled the clip up all the way. Let's just say that. So, you know, it is what it is. But it's what you said, right? It's about establishing good habits moving forward. If you're serious about making the playoffs, you can't just be like, well, we won, we can overlook that. Not no more. You know, you're too deep in the hole. You got to get out this 10-game below 500 deal and make some noise.
All right, on to the second one. Put that up on screen right quick. You guys, this is from Zoe. You guys say like the whole Wizards defense are bad when the main reasons are Beal and Russ. Besides Beal and Russ, the only one that sucks at defense is Bertans. Other players working, you know what, off on defense, especially Rui and Denny. So who wants to – Carter, we'll start with you since Ray went first. I'm so happy that's blocking my face right now. Y'all don't understand. But go ahead, Carter. And I'll move this now.
I mean, look, Bill and Russ got their faults. You know what I mean? When they fall asleep, get beat backdoor. don't close out like they should. We're not excusing them. Like it's never. Look, let's just say that. Let's put it this way: it's when they do selections for all NBA defensive teams, none of the Wizards are going to be on there. Trust me. So we need to just establish that. But you know, putting that on Russ and Bill, they fall from the main reason why their defense is trash. Man. It's just they're getting hit from screens. They got to fight over that, and then on top of that, they got to do that and still do what they were doing offensively. Like, look, the Wizards only won by 9 tonight, and look at the numbers that Bill and Russ had to put up to do that, man. Meanwhile, on the other end, their counterparts put up numbers. You know what I'm saying? Mostly in the second half. It's not always on Russ and Bill because if they get screened, which no one is may not be talking all the time, and you're not hedging out, or the other team is rotating the ball around the court, and other guys are not closing out, their guys are the main offensive weapons. They're going to score. So then it looks like they're busting Russ and Bill's butt when in actuality, no one's rotating and helping. I've seen Russ. You can't fault Russ when he's getting on Giannis. He's the one like, I got Giannis. He up there battling Giannis, 6 3-point guard battling Giannis on the block. Why, as a big man, you should take that personal, like, nah, go get your man. Go look, man. Go deal with Seth Curry or something like that. I got this big boy. And think about it. None of the bigs really put up much of a fight when Russ said, I got him. They were just like, okay. So, I mean, what does that mean? Look, man. We call it like we see it game to game. It's not picking on anybody. You know, I know when you say things these days that somebody don't want to hear, they automatically label it hate when it's just them not just trying to accept the truth about what they want to see. You know, it is what it is. They're not the best defensive team in the world. We know that. That's why they're 10 games below 500. If they were, they would have a better record. But Bill and Russ are far from the main reasons why their defense is horrible. Man, you called out one. You know, he left the game with an injury. Hopefully he gets, healthy with the calf strain or whatever like that. It seems to be that whenever these big men come to town, you got to leave the game early if he comes at all. You know what I'm saying? I'm just starting to notice a pattern. So you're going to call it like it is. But nah, Denny's a rookie. He's still trying to learn. So, of course, he's going to get cooked. Rui's in his second year. They're trying to get him ready to be that. He's shown spurts. Like when he battled Giannis and told us over the first game, he did well. But Neto's probably, to me, the most – and Neto and Garrison Matthews are probably the most consistent defenders on the team to me.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? We're not talking about literally everybody on the team. But the results of the team can be affected by a couple of players not doing their jobs. It's everybody got to be on the string. That's what I'm saying. We talked about this early in the season when they were losing bad, getting blown out. I brought up they don't trust one another. You can see them hesitating to rotate because they scared where if I rotate them, is my team ain't gonna be in position to get my man. It's little things. You see what I'm saying? So you still see a little bit of that at times, and that's what gets them in trouble. And we not saying nothing that the damn coaching staff not saying. Scott Brooks literally said it last night. He said we got to defend our man. He said guys are getting picked on. He ain't got to say no names. We watching. He literally said that last night. We got to take pride in our individual defense. Guys are getting picked on. It's that time of the season where teams ain't playing around. If you're weak defensively, we're just going to go to you. We're going to find a matchup to get to you. Screen and roll, switch out on me. Like I said, Kyrie's coming to town. James Harden coming to town. We don't know what's up with KD. He might pop up. Hey, homie, look. They're going to hunt these dudes. I ain't got to say their names. You said one of them in the post, Zoe, you said it. They're going to hunt him. If he plays Sunday, they're going to hunt him. And if he don't stand up and be strong defensively, he's going to be on the bench because it's going to get ugly. Simple as that.
Yeah, and like Cardell said, pretty much it's the pieces together that affect the whole picture. From them being a good defensive team as a whole, you got a couple guys. It's 5 on the floor, and if only 1 or 2 of them on the same page, there you have it. Constant frustration. So, last thing, just want to thank. Get this right because on that screen it is difficult for me to read it. Here we go. So from Jose Eduardo Acosta Nunez, thank you so much. He was like, "Morning, guys. Follow you daily from Germany. Good job. I just want my guys Russ, I just want my guys Russ to be traded. He deserves a ring. Great job, and he loves the analysis. I think the one Russ trade happened. I don't know if you can move that thing again. And in terms of them trying to go get a ring, a lot of steps have to happen in between now and then, because currently in this present state, this is in fact not it at this moment. Several things need to be changed. I know a way you can start that process, but it's another story for another day. There's one movable big contract on this roster. Sadly, it's not your man's Russ. Look a little bit lower than that recently signed, if you will. But again, I don't know how many takers there's going to be, because I don't think there was I think you got to bid against yourselves when that money was thrown out there. Be like that sometimes. I think it's the most adult way I could say it. Just a reminder before we close, as we told you guys, we got Within the Madness going on. We got the first edition of the men's, like literally starting within the next 15 minutes or so. So the same way that you guys tune in here, literally just do the same thing. If you wish to partake in that, the late games are going. It's the second half of Appalachian State, Norfolk State, and then UCLA and Michigan literally just kicked off. So we'll touch on that, touch on the two early games, and then, try to get a little bit of rest, because it really kicks off tomorrow. Like everything, is a full day, full slate of games tomorrow, Saturday. And as far as Wizards Outlook goes, just because, we got Within the Madness going on the men's and women's sides of NCAA tournament, we will still be knocking out Wizards Outlook. So we're here for all that. As we mentioned earlier, don't hesitate to comment on any medium that you're viewing, and I will get back to you and respond to you on air in real time, or if you comment via YouTube the following day, we'll get back to you. So you guys have a great night.